You're listening to Business Extra coming from the Nationals newsroom in Abu Dhabi. I'm your host, Kelsey Warner. Today, we're talking social media and about one of the most durable brands in the game, Snapchat. I'm joined today by Hussein Frija, General Manager for the MENA region at Snap Inc. Hussein, hi, welcome.
Thanks so much for inviting me. Great to be here.
Good to meet you. Good to have you here. I want to talk Snapchat. Okay. Been around since 2011, kind of a heyday for social media. Founded, the year after Pinterest and Instagram came on the scene. Facebook and Twitter fully mainstream by 2011. 12 years later, things have really evolved. The technology has changed rapidly. Audiences are much different. Introduce us to Snapchat in 2023. What are we looking at as a company?
Well, I'll take you back to those heydays you mentioned, because we're still really focused on what Snapchat is at that time when Bobby and Evan, our founders, founded Snap. At that time, you remember social media in 2011 was at its peak. And Bobby and Evan at college at that time saw how social media is kind of like making a major impact and diluting the important relationships we have, specifically around friends and family. To the benefit of just having a lot of connections, a lot of friends. We started seeing people having so much pressure on getting likes and shares. They didn't like that. So they kind of created Snapchat as we call it actually the antidote to social media. And you've seen Snap successful in focusing on really enhancing the relationships with the people who are really close to you, friends and family, and the world around you. You've seen features like ephemeral messaging and AR and the innovation on camera helped Snap and Snapchatters really communicate day to day in a more real way. When you communicate visually, you're able to do a lot of emotions that you're never able to do when you do text. As a result, you feel it's actually more real and as real as it could be versus your typical normal text messaging. We're still the same since then. What evolved massively, but this is the core of who we are.
I buy that. Okay, Snapchat, the little yellow icon on your phone, it is a bit of a happy place in the somewhat blue Twitter, Facebook, more kind of, those spaces have been much more controversial. Snapchat certainly has been able to sidestep much of the controversy around the social media of it all. What would you say is the secret to that kind of reputational success? Snapchat has been able to maintain, as you were just saying, a bit of consistency over the years. Can you talk a little bit about just the evolution of the product?
Well, the first thing I would think of is when you open Snapchat, the first thing you get is a camera. You don't get a feed that's all aimed out filling your feed with a lot of experiences or content and with difficulties in filtering what's good, what's bad, what's negative. So that invitation through the camera to create or to communicate is the first point that kind of makes Snapchat a happy place. In fact, actually, research shows that actually Snapchat is the number one happy place when you look at digital assets there. So point one is the invitation to create versus the feed.
That's
point two is what I mentioned around the focus on enhancing relationships with friends and family. I think really since 2011, we had a lot of temptation from a business perspective to evolve beyond that, to get more followers or more engagement. But we really kept the focus on friends and family. And that kept it safe, kept it real. People were themselves. And the last thing is our approach to content. At that time, unlike most of the platforms that were operating at that time, Snapchat created Discover, which is home for content creators and publishers. And Discover, untraditionally, is a platform where we have a close community. So we choose our partners. Not everybody could go and create content. And as well, it was more moderated than you would ever see outside. There's a human component in moderation. There is an algorithm that we always evolve and invest in to make sure that content, we maintain the safety of the community. And the last point I would say, if you notice how Snapchat is designed, from the beginning, like you find safety and privacy core to how we do things. Examples like ephemeral messaging, like where messages disappear, you can't save, you're protected, and a close community of content creators. Actually, our product design goes through a safety and privacy filter in the development stage, not at the end of the product stage. And I think all of those helped us create that lane that kept us in that safe area.
Those three things you just named are such strong business decisions that did ultimately probably curtail your ability to grow in the same way. You look at the market caps of Facebook and those ilk, but those business decisions, those things that you just named, first decision really to say no to the news feed, to keep the mirror on the creator. The second, to really gatekeep and keep your platform kind of a curated list of partners. So it's not a come one, come all approach. You guys really did make a decision around gatekeeping. And then the third, to build privacy into the product development stage. All three of those are real kind of crossroads decisions that differentiate you from your competition. And here in the region, it has really built up a fairly loyal following, this way of going. So in MENA, Snapchat has a really engaged audience. In KSA, you reach more than 90% of 13 to 34-year-olds, and you have a monthly reach of 20 million. And 71% of parents in Saudi Arabia use Snapchat, which I thought was interesting. Well, in the UAE, you reach 1 in 3 18 to 34-year-olds. Talk a little bit about that loyalty. I mean, I mentioned earlier, these business decisions, they separate you out from your competition. They do curtail your ability really to achieve the kind of magnificent growth your competitors have achieved, but you do boast a really loyal following. Can you talk a little bit about that?
First of all, like I've been at Snap 7 years, and what you just explained is exactly what we intend to do and what the leadership team intend to do. In many cases, I've seen Snap at a situation where we could have made short-term decisions against short-term growth gains. But what I admire the most about Snap is that we always took a decision that always kind of relate to who we really are, who we want to be, even if that means that short-term we're going to lose that growth opportunity here and there. And I think being in where we are now, we just explained, is proof that this decision actually and strategy was really successful. In the region here, since we launched the operation, we've always seen the community in the GCC specifically region, within the local community, they really like Snapchat. And there's there are a lot of reasons why. Mainly, if you look at the culture we operate within here, as fast as our life gets or as busy as we get, our family and friends and close friends are always extremely important. My mom has 5 kids, and wherever we are in the day or whatever country we are, I call my mom twice a day. And it's like that never changed since I graduated from school.
So does that mean she's getting 10 phone calls a day, or are you the outlier?
Like you sit next to her, her phone is like it's a phone center, and that is the same across the whole culture. So we always into those relationships, and Snap came in and gave that tool and visual experience to make those relationships even better. It's a big difference for me when I used to text my mom on WhatsApp or text message, asking about her or chatting a little bit, versus actually sending her a picture of where I am, or she's sending me a picture sometimes to make her laugh, because you talk to your mom twice a day. How many things you can do to make her laugh, right? But with Snap, it's always easy. It's always a lens somewhere or a filter or a cute thing to do or a crying face or an older or a younger face. Is a lot to be done. And that our community appreciated a lot. The second thing is this idea of storytelling. Like if I'm sure you have a lot of friends in the local community here. We sit with our friends, with our parents, with our grandmas and grandpas, and these stories. There are stories that we keep telling and we like telling. I think our creator community loved the camera at Snap and found it a very fast and efficient way to create stories. So as a result, creators loved it. And as a result, people and Snapchatters engaged with it. So you see our creator community has a really, really vibrant dynamic there that we enjoy a lot.
I want you to talk to me a little bit about advertisers. digital ads is almost 100% of Snapchat's revenue model. Dig into the advertising model, why advertisers continue to come back, and what are the products they are using to get their message out on your platform.
Yeah, if you specifically in the region, but globally and in the region, if you see, I mean, social media and most of the tech platforms that advertisers has access to has engagement. People, yeah, it's part of our lives. The challenge we heard from brands keep telling us that their challenge is they see engagement almost everywhere. Okay, of course, some platforms are more than others, but engagement intensity is there. The challenge brands have is what kind of engagement the brands want to associate with first. So that topic around safety and privacy and the whole issues around what's happening on social media. The second thing, what's engagement brands can be part of where they will get receptivity from the audience. So audience will be receptive to the brand messaging, and how can they be part of that? So I think our focus on friends and family and kind of enhancing that experience um, allowed us to provide the kind of engagement brands want to associate with. So that was what got brands on board with Snapchat. But then with our tools like AR for advertisers and video, the full immersive experiences, it allowed brands actually to be part of this very nice, dynamic, safe, happy, where brands would evolve into kind of enabler for those friendships. I'll give you an example. So AR is this kind of, if for people who do not know what AR is a way to add
Augmented reality.
over your.
Yes. We'll take
Exactly.
a pause. AR stands for augmented reality. Augmenting reality. Yes.
Which is a way to augment your reality with computing. So you pull your Snapchat camera, which gets you your reality, and then through our lenses, you could add computing on the top. That computing started as an entertainment where you heard about the dog lenses and the vomiting rainbow or the crying lens that I'm sure a lot of people use.
That was the Snapchat era, I think, at which point I departed. That's when I began to renounce social media in general. So that's what, last I left you, that's what was going on. Yes.
We need to get you back. So this, people loved it, and it evolved into a utility. Now you pull up a Snapchat camera and you point it to a math problem, it will solve it for you. Mm-hmm. You would point it to a plant and you would know what that plant is and where it comes from. You point it to a dog and you could find the dog breed of that dog. So brands used AR to provide people with experiences that enhances their relationship with friends. Unas had an amazing lens in Ramadan where people used it to communicate with their friends around wishing each other a happy Ramadan or giving them recommendations of what they should buy in Ramadan, etc. And the National Day in Saudi, we had a lot of experiences that allowed people to show their pride. In UAE, actually, in the National Day of UAE, AR actually was used to drive awareness to the gaff tree, which is a national tree of UAE, which is endangered, to raise awareness around it through AR. You could plant a tree and then raise awareness around that. So all of this represented key opportunities for brands on Snapchat and kept them on the platform.
This is all really interesting. I do want to highlight, okay, Snap was a bit of an outlier last earnings season. Revenue from advertising is flat. You were a bit of a victim of your own success during the pandemic. There was a meteoric rise in popularity, understandably, for social media platforms. Since then, analysts have kind of noted there's increased competition from TikTok, Meta's Instagram Reels, and Alphabet's YouTube Shorts. There's three kind of invading forces on the Snap territory. All of this is well and good. So how is Snap differentiating itself in this kind of new environment we find ourselves in, even just the last 6 months?
That's a really good question. First of all, what makes us so bullish about the future is the fact that our community keeps growing and our engagement keeps getting healthier and healthier. We made major bets on areas like maps for friends and AR and camera and visual communication and stories and content. And most of those bets proved like a lot of people followed us and those bets became real successes for the platform. So the success of the community and the consistent growth we've been seeing in the last 6 to 9 quarters makes us so bullish about the future. Now, the ad market globally is going through tough times, and that's an obvious result of a really challenging macro dynamics in the US and Europe around inflation and recession. As a result, the ad market got impacted, and consequently, most of the ad platforms who are dependent on advertising got impacted. I think what makes me so proud of the operation here and the leadership team at Snap is that early on, back in August, Snap was able to really take tough decisions to reset the business and kind of focus more. So we make the tough call around adjusting our cost and making sure we have the right adjustments on how we want to operate to focus more on what's important. And we did that in August. And that allowed us now to really be in a very solid stage. You see a lot of companies doing this work now in terms of how they want to operate in the future. The macro dynamics are dynamics that we keep an eye on, but the health of the business in terms of community engagement, the investment we did actually on advertising tools to drive more value on the lower funnel for advertisers makes us bullish about the future of Snap.
When you think about the future of Snap, you referenced augmented reality. Is there a place for AI in all of this? I know that AI and AR kind of go hand in hand. It's, untangling one from the other is a bit hard, but what is next when you talk about technology and Snap?
Innovation at Snap has been the key constant.
You're often copied.
Exactly, and which is a great thing. It's a great testament to innovation and something we pride ourselves with. I sit in the office and every couple of days I would see teams in the corners of the office just trying something new and laughing and enjoying what they're doing. I think innovation is something that we proved that we could deliver to our community. AI is one of the most exciting things for us. We just actually in our partner summit launched our My AI chatbot. So now, when you go to Snap, and we still have to find a way to get you back to Snap, you have on the top of your friends list an AI chatbot. It acts like your AI friend. So you click on it, just like you're talking to a friend. You could ask it any question you want. And we use the GPT technology to power that. But we add a lot of layers of safety and making it more relevant to how Snapchat DNA is actually formed. We tested it with our subscriber user base, Snapchat Plus, for a couple of months, and we just launched it to the whole globe, and the results has been massive. We're having millions of chats with My AI. And, like the fact that you have a lot of people chatting with it and giving it more information, the answers will be more relevant and it becomes more effective in terms of getting back to you to what you really want, which is something that excites us a lot.
And great insight for advertisers. So I want to switch gears to talk about, you've been in the UAE for a couple of decades. You've been at Snap for 7.5 years. You were part of one of the OG tech deals, Maktub being acquired by Yahoo back in 2007, I believe. Is that right? Can you talk about kind of your ride? You were employee number 1 at Snapchat GCC. What is that been like? Can you just talk about your ride through the 20 years of UAE and tech?
Yeah, I gotta say, I'm gonna remember you asking me a question that includes a couple of decades, so that makes me feel really, really old. But I'll get over
Sorry.
that.
Generations ago.
Yeah, exactly. Listen, it's been an amazing. I'm so lucky to have the opportunity to work in a country like UAE. My career started with Maktub at that time in 2004. Digital was just very minimal, and Maktub was this Arabic website that wanted to provide Arabic service to people, and we built it from scratch until Yahoo acquired it. And then Yahoo wanted to use the Maktub capabilities to provide a super local experience in a region that is 400 million people out of the UAE. And then we did that. And then Snap, because of the successes we have, they wanted to build an operation locally that allows us to be way more relevant, connect with our partner ecosystem, and enhance our community here. It's been an amazing ride. I keep telling people, like, I built a career just operating in Dubai Internet City, and it shows you how amazing this country is in providing opportunities for us. Snap has been, such a fun ride, to say the least. A product that keeps innovating. It's so cool. People love it. I go and meet our partners in UAE or Saudi or Bahrain, and you see how Snap is part of their lives. And the level and the way Snap is managed allows us to really innovate a lot in this region. We have a really very good position in market, a high market share. Our engagement is really healthy. As you mentioned, in Saudi, we have around 22 million people every month. In UAE, 1 out of 3, 4 million people in UAE, around more than 60% of smartphone penetration. And we still have a lot to do there in countries like Egypt and other GCC countries. So a team, we have around 120 people plus in the operation here. We have 3 offices in UAE, Saudi, and in Doha. So really fun stuff. And I think it's been a great experience.
Okay, so you oversee a team right now of 120. I'm just curious in terms of talent acquisition, talent retention. UAE has a huge mandate. Its journey to being a knowledge-based economy is seemingly going strong, but I'm curious from your vantage point, how is that going? And what are your hiring trends from within Snap right now?
Well, like, it's been a really top of mind topic for us. Our team is growing, and there's a component of how can we make sure that we attract the best talent that reflects the community around us so we could service it better? So how can we diversify and be inclusive in how we hire? So we have the team that's able to create a product that's inclusive as a result. So that has been a huge focus in terms of how we hire, what kind of protocols and processes in place that we need to have to make sure that we achieve those objectives. The second thing is the region here is still a developing region from a talent ecosystem perspective. And how can Snapchat play a role in upskilling the talent in the region? We engage with the government a lot on initiatives around upskilling talent in the region, specifically locals, around key skills that we know are very important for the future. An example of this is a partnership with the Ministry of AI that allowed us to come and train local talent around building AR experiences that will allow them, as important as AR and VR is in our work currently, you don't study it in school. So if you would graduate as an engineer or a developer or graphic designer, but you're not able to develop, somebody has to teach you that. So we play a big role in allowing talent to get access to our knowledge and build that. And you will see Snap doing a lot of this in the region, in supporting the talent ecosystem, empowering women talent that's coming to the workforce, and making sure we develop the talent ecosystem, especially within the local community.
Would you say from a technical standpoint, Snap is making more hires locally for more technical skills, or are you still kind of in a business development marketing role?
We actually started ramping up our technical hiring here in the region. You have to keep in mind, Snap is relative to other platforms is a smaller company.
Yeah.
We're 5 to 7,000. So, but given the size of the region, we started to build product capabilities here in the region. I expect us to very selectively kind of keep doing that as we go. But that doesn't mean we don't have focus from our development teams. Like, when I look at headquarter focus, this part of the world is really important for Snap. It's amongst the most engaged communities for Snap globally, and as well the healthiest business in terms of volume, not only growth. So the Middle East has a high relevance and importance within our global roadmaps.
You're earning your place at the table. Hussein, really fun to talk to you. Thanks for taking the time.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
That's all for today. If you enjoyed this episode, please do subscribe wherever you listen. All that's left to do is thank our production team and you for listening. See you next week.